Hey y'all, this is AL Think Madame and Cinnamon Sugar. Ooh, cinnamon sugar child. My hair is gonna stay like this more than likely. All the rest of this month, I have been planning for like the last 3 months to do braids, but I ain't doing them. Like that was gonna be the next thing I was gonna do after I removed the install that I put in for my birthday, but I held off on it. But that's turned out to be the best decision for me. Y'all, I'm not very comfortable right now. I'm getting into that. I'll try to be quick about it. So, unfortunately, the majority of this video is going to be about me. I have been very fortunate and thankful that it hadn't been about me for I don't know how long, meaning the majority of the video. Whenever I give y'all updates on what's going on. But yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be mainly about me today. So let me go ahead and get into it. Um, so let me try to make long story short. I put in my 2 weeks notice at my job, and my last official day was last week. So this is the beginning of the first week of me being off and not working. Okay. I'm trying to have me some me time before I start back working and trying to set some things up and, just enjoy my time off. And some things are going on. So it's kind of not putting me in a state of wanting to even work or being able to work. Getting there. So with me putting in my 2 weeks notice, I did that for me and I did that for my mama. I feel like if they say that they are going to do the surgery, that my mind is going to be completely nowhere near my job. And so it's best for me to just go on ahead and not inconvenience nobody because I'm always thinking of everybody else before myself. I don't want to inconvenience my other coworkers by me calling out at the last minute or having to call in or leave early and all that other stuff because the job that I was working is a very important job. I can never tell y'all where I was working, unfortunately. Um, just know the only thing I can tell y'all is the way y'all was invested in Risa Tisa, it would have been way more explosive. Y'all, I would be getting checks for probably like the next 6 months. Good, juicy checks. Telling y'all the truth about everything that was going on where I worked. So just know that. That's all I can say. I can't say nothing. I wish I could because that would release a whole lot. Because I shouldn't have had to go through all that stuff I was going through. Um, so when I submitted my 2 weeks notice, I had to work 3 of my 4 days that week. My third day, which would have been my Friday that day, unfortunately, there was an all hands on deck mandatory overtime situation. Everybody, even if it wasn't your day to work, you had to come in and work for like 4 5 hours. I had to unfortunately stay over for 4 5 hours and I was just over it. I was not here for it and I was disgusted. And it was even worse because the PMS symptoms that were kicking in because I was just like, yeah. And if you know how that go, you know how it go. I was feeling everything. I'm telling y'all, as it was getting closer to the end of the situation, my body, I felt like I was full blown in the middle of my cycle being on, and it was just like, hey, it was bad. Hold on, y'all. Whew, okay, so unfortunately, it didn't come on because it was supposed to come on that week. And I had regulated my cycle. And the first time in my life, my cycle had been regulated last year for like 6 months straight. I could tell you the day it was going to come on, and it would come on and go off within 4 days. And when I tell y'all, I still basically had to search and find and guess and second guess myself as to whether or not my cycle was on. When it was on, I loved it. I've been stress eating, so now symptoms are more present. And it's not as bad because when my cycle is on, I try to chug a whole lot of spring water. I don't know what it is about that, But there have been times that even when I ate bad, when I realized my cycle was on, I would just chug a whole lot of spring water. Child, please, child, please. My body was like, what's going on here? I don't know what that was about, but it worked. But yeah, I felt miserable, and I was trying to get up out of there. Nobody knew that I was gonna be off the next day, but my supervisor, because we had a one-on-one. Because when she came into work, I told her that I was, um, leaving. Gave her my 2 weeks notice, and she took it well. And she was just wondering, like, hey, do you have something else set up? How you gonna, survive? How's everything gonna go? She already knew the reason why. For me, it's my mama. I already feel like my headspace is not gonna be where it needs to be. I'm not gonna be clear. I'm not gonna be there. Y'all do remember that I told y'all when I was working at Frito Lay, I went into work less than 24 hours as my mama revealed to me that she was paralyzed, and I wasn't there. I didn't go to sleep. I was looking crazy. It's like I was barely breathing. I don't even know how I made it to work. And the married man was working with me that night, and we working. And then he came up to me and he said something that made me laugh. When I tell y'all, I'm crying and laughing. And I was just like, you just don't know how bad I needed that. Like, it's like I couldn't breathe. Like, it was just like, what are you talking about? So, whew, I just know that for me, I'm not going to be present. The job that I was working is extremely too important. Y'all, I wish I could tell y'all where I worked, but I can't. If I ever said anything about where I worked, it would be way more explosive than the Risa Tisa stuff. Y'all thought y'all was into the Risa Tisa videos? That ain't had nothing. That ain't had nothing on what's going on and what consistently goes on where I work. And I just made a point to just come in, do my job, and go to the house. Even if people were trying to sabotage me along the way. It is what it is. You didn't prosper. Nothing that you tried to do prospered. It is what it is. I got up out of there unscathed. Hallelujah. So, but yeah, I can't never tell y'all where I worked, but just know. I actually thought nothing was going to be worse than the experience that I had when I was having to deal with the side heifer at Frito Lay. But no, it was crazy. So I prayed on it, and I continuously prayed on it because I kept having moments when my mama was saying little things. My mama had first said something about how she's preparing herself to get the surgery. So she said this before like Christmas and all that other stuff. So I'm looking like, oh, it's becoming real. Oh, so time went by. When the new year hit, I'm praying and I'm like, okay, I need to start. I need to start coming to grips with what might happen and where I need to go with this, because I'm not missing nothing else. I don't have time for this. Now, the problem that I've been encountering is that my parents feel as though they are being a burden, I'm guessing. Or, and they see how I react to things now. The me that I am now. I don't play no games when it comes to my parents. Don't sit up here and play in my parents' face. The people already was playing games when it came to transporting my mama from the house to her appointments and things like that. So it's like, don't do that. Because if it had been me, I already would have been setting it off. I do everything short of cussing. And people feel the sting of what I'm saying, even though I'm not even cursing. So my mama just looking at it like, oh, well, I have to just, talk to them a certain way because I have to depend on them. And I'm like, no, they're getting paid to transport people. So I don't want to hear none of that. Then when they finally make it to the appointment, they spending all day at the appointment filling out paperwork, and they shuffling her from room to room between her and my daddy. They trying to fill out paperwork, and I'm just like, oh my God, why didn't y'all tell me? Because I could have been there helping to fill out paperwork. The paperwork, it was just so much, like, it was just so much paperwork. My mom was like, they need to start sending paperwork. If it's going to be like this, they need to start sending this ahead of time so that we can already have it filled out before we get there. Because it's not like it's paperwork that's going to be needed for a notary to witness you filling out and signing and all this other stuff. So I'm just like, I could have been there. But they always feel like, oh, well, I don't want to tell them about what's going on. Oh, I don't want to mention it to her. Oh, I don't want to do that. And then in the past, they'll tell me the dates, and then the people wouldn't show up to pick my mama up and come up with every lie in the book as to why they didn't come. So that was another situation. Anyway, so now the situation is my parents are going to have to set up transportation services again to figure out I'm trying not to do it because it's pissing me off just thinking about it. To make a long story short, the surgeon that would do the surgery, if they're going to do the surgery, needs to lay eyes on my mama in person. But essentially it's a money grab, because why? If you have my mama's results in your hand from the MRI and you have all of her medical information, why do you need to lay eyes on her? Why can't y'all do like y'all did in COVID and even after COVID? And if you need to see her like that, they'll set up the computer so you can see her. They'll set up her laptop so y'all can see her and do whatever y'all call it. I forgot, not Zoom, but they call it something else when it comes to medical situations where they looking at you, and I forgot what they call it. But anyway, do that so you can look at her. You'll see her laid up in the bed, can't move. My mama does do the exercises with the bars where she pulls her body up. So she is making sure that her upper body strength is there. She is on some kind of lentil diet, and my mama's withering away to nothingness. When I tell you at this point, I'm like, shoot, I might need to do that little diet. Cause shoot, now, I ain't here for nobody's lentils like that, I don't think, but whatever. But my mama lived for stuff like that. I'm very picky, and I know of things that I can eat where I would lose weight, but I want to go about it in the way that I've lost weight before when I went alkaline for fruitarian. That's how I want to do it. And either dry fasting or fasting with herbs. Also, if they decide that they are going to do the surgery, I want to either dry fast or fast with herbs or do a mixture of both. Because I don't know how this is going to go, and I need to pray, and I just need to do what I need to do because it's too much. Hold on, y'all. Okay, I'm back. I don't remember where I was, but just in case I say certain things, I'm going to speed through them, and I'm going to go and get out y'all face. I put in my 2 weeks notice at my job. I didn't want to inconvenience nobody, so I ended up asking if somebody would work certain days for me. And that last week I was going to work pretty much those last days, and my supervisor asked somebody on my behalf if they were willing to come in and work for me, and they said yeah, so I didn't have to work. And I was just like, so I didn't have to work pretty much but once a week, each week of my 2 weeks off. And so very thankful for that. I needed that time off. My body was going through. My mama got stuff going on, and I needed to lay eyes on her. I was able to go and lay eyes on her earlier because of that. I think they thought that I was playing this whole time when I told them that my time was coming to an end where I had been working. And they were like, oh, so you put in your 2 weeks notice for it? I was like, yeah, I told y'all I was getting up out of there. My sister gonna call me less than a week ago and was like, what's going on here? I thought you said that you wanted me to draw up a 2 weeks notice letter for you. I was like, look, I've been told you the time was drawing near, but you ain't do it for me. And see, I asked my sister for advice, or she will volunteer to do certain things for me because she was still actively in all these circles, and she know anything updated that people are doing. Like when I needed my resume updated, she knew what my resume needed to look like and all this other stuff. So that's the reason why she was gonna do my letter, but I ended up doing my own letter, and that was fine. It was what it was. When I was leaving, my supervisor did not tell my coworkers. I don't know what that was about, but I thought that same week that she was going to tell my coworkers at our meeting when I wasn't there, but she didn't. She was like, "Oh, I'm not going to say nothing to him until you're all the way gone." And I was like, "Oh." And so, yeah, I wasn't going to say nothing. She didn't tell them nothing. And it just is what it is. I'm thankful because part of me is thankful that she didn't, because certain people would have been approaching me and would have triggered me by asking me, why am I leaving? What's going on? Is there something going on or whatever? And I didn't want to get triggered. So part of me is very, very thankful that she did not tell anybody that I was leaving. And I'm thankful that she didn't tell the few people that she did tell that I was leaving, why I was leaving. I need to make sure my mama good, and I need to make sure I'm good. I need to have extreme flexibility. This job is not going to do that. The job where I work is not the type of job where you just be like, "Ooh, I want to have a lazy day today. Let me call out." "Ooh, I don't feel like coming in today. Let me call." Like, you don't call out from the job that I work in. Like, if you're serious, where I was working, you don't call out. I already don't be calling out. If I call out, it's literally because of something that is out of my control. And I called out like a month or so ago, whenever it was, when we had all that ice, like maybe 2 months ago now. I barely made it home the day before. And because of where I live, I wasn't going to be able to make it out of my neighborhood because I have inclines and like really like the curves be curving. Like, it was a lot going on. So I wasn't going to be able to make it out. And then I have an incline when I'm trying to get on the interstate. Like, it was a lot going on. And so I was not going to be able to make it out. Tried, couldn't do it. And I was covered that day, thank God. And that was my Friday. So that was just a bonus for me. I was happy. And I just used one of my sick days or my vacation days for that day so I could still get paid for it. But yeah, unfortunately, while I was working at my job, the only thing that I will tell y'all, even though I cannot tell y'all where I worked or a lot of the shenanigans that was going on, because when I tell y'all, I'm telling y'all, I probably said it already, but Risa Tisa, her story ain't had nothing on what was going on where I was working. Listen, I thought Frito-Lay was doing the listen. So anyway, I was about to choke on my spit, my saliva, excuse me. So there were people who I would have never thought that created an issue with me and was saying stuff about me behind my back. Apparently it was so disgusting, whatever this person was saying about me, that my my superiors did not even want to repeat it to me. And I wasn't hurt per se. I was just more disappointed than anything because I was pouring into this person. I was rooting for this person, and I always was speaking highly of this person. So, and then like another situation came up. They trying to throw me under the bus when they were the whole issue. It's like, wait a minute, how you gonna try to throw me into a situation? I don't understand why literally my name is being brought up in a situation, and it's like, you don't want to take responsibility for whatever you got going on, so you want to throw me in the mix. Why? Child, it was when I tell you, I was like, I am done. And I ain't gonna hold you. I really feel like those were some of the instances that I was praying for as my, my signs. Because ever since the beginning of this year, I was like, Lord, just send me a sign. Because I know my mama is supposed to get surgery. I don't know if it's really gonna happen, but I need to be in place. I need signs to let me know whether or not I'm making the right decision. Because I can ignore what's going on here and continue to work because I have money that needs to be made in order to pay my bills. That's fine. But when it got to that, I was just like, ooh. And I kept praying on it, and things kept popping up out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh, this is sign after sign after sign that I need to leave and get while the getting is good. So that's what I did. I left on good terms. Luckily, people really liked me there, really loved me there. People are going to miss me. I couldn't tell nobody though. I couldn't tell nobody what was going on. Um, and I told my supervisor that if she wanted to, after I was all the way gone, that if she wanted to share with them why I was leaving, that she could. Because I was just like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to get choked up. I am going to be upset. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do anything that's going to trigger me. I don't want anybody to approach me and trigger me by asking me what's going on and why am I leaving. So I'm really thankful that with this situation, it was weird, but it worked out because nobody had the opportunity to even come up to me to say anything to me about it. So the last thing I'm gonna tell y'all about me is that yesterday I had a really bad day where my feet were hurting really bad, to the point where I couldn't hardly walk. I was limping bad, and I'm talking about excruciating pain. Um, I soak my feet at least once a day. And I know that it's partially because of my weight gain and all of that, that this was even happening. But it's like the skin on the bottom of my feet. Okay, so I've explained to some of y'all who are around, who have been around for a long time, that I do like these foot peels. I was doing foot peels like once or twice a year. And I'm very impatient when it comes to anything dealing with like a pimple, a scab, or whatever. And so my foot peeling would happen, and then there'll be certain parts of the foot peel where I'll feel confident enough that I can peel it off. But the skin layer ended up going deeper, and so it would hurt me in that particular area. That's essentially what that was like. That's essentially what is going on. The skin is breaking loose and coming apart, and I can't describe, but it's kind of like it peeled in those areas. It's kind of the same sensation, the same situation in certain areas on both of my feet, but my left foot is the worst off. But it was so bad yesterday, I could not even walk normally to the bathroom. I would have to tell myself, go ahead and go to the bathroom now, because if you don't, you're going to pee on yourself once the urgency hits you. And you got to try to struggle to get to the bathroom. You're already walking like you're crazy anyway because of how inflamed your thighs are. Like, it's worse than just thighs rubbing together. Like, it's my thighs have never been like this before. I cannot even stand with my feet together anymore. That's how bad off this edema is taking over the bottom half of my body. And I don't like that. So I'm in the process of reversing it, y'all. I cannot wait until I can come to y'all and share with y'all that I have successfully reversed it. My sister feels as though I can't reverse it and that I'll have to get my legs cut in those areas in order to get that to be removed. And I was like, I don't think so, because when everything happened with me before, when I had lymphedema, and it wasn't further up my legs, I had a lot of stress. I had a lot of stress going on. And that was the only reason why my lymphedema didn't fully reverse until after I ended up moving home. I'm talking about within a week. My feet and my ankles and everything went back to normal. And I was just like, because I went from I literally could not walk, y'all. I couldn't walk. And my friend came and she helped, and she put, like, if it hadn't been for her, the majority of my stuff would have been left in Virginia. And she was like, you should have told me earlier, because I was trying to keep it a secret because I didn't want nobody rolling up on me, and I didn't want to get triggered yet again because I'm leaving and I don't want to have to explain to them why I'm leaving. It was literally out of my control why I had to leave. And it was just so emotional. I had friends there, and it was just a lot. And so I just didn't want to burden nobody with the reason why. And I didn't want to get triggered. So yeah, I couldn't even walk. that was such a terrible day. But within a week of me moving home, everything was as if I never had lymphedema. It was crazy. I'm talking about I'm over here trying to get my boots on for work and can't put them on. I was just like, oh my God, I can't put my pants on because my pants, these joggers that I used to wear like several different pairs of joggers to my job at Frito-Lay, and I couldn't even put them on hardly because my calves and my ankles would be so swollen. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even put them over my boot no more. I can't do nothing. It was bad. But yeah, I know I can reverse it and I will reverse it. Crystal said that it's definitely reversible. She told me the things that I needed to get, and I got those things. I already had the majority of them before I came to her pop up. And now that my cycle is off, I can start back applying them to my body. And one of the things, y'all, and I know y'all probably gonna look at me sideways when I show y'all this, but it is what it is. So I'm exercising and things, right? This is one of my weights. I have two. These are the type of weights. I would probably put a thing in here if I think about it and show y'all what these weights look like. But this is the smallest size. This is 10 pounds. It don't seem like it's 10 pounds. And it's probably because I'm weak right now. But this is at the lowest set, 10 pounds. Okay. The rest of the weights are not on here. But like I said, I'll send y'all a picture. Obviously, the weights are going to match who I am as a person. I'm me. Of course, I got to be bougie. Of course, I got to do the most. And if I'm going to do the most, I'm going to pay all this money. It's going to match what I want it to be, which is me. But if I think about it, I'll put a picture of what my weights look like that I have when all of them are attached. And as I add more, it looks different. But I had my whole setup in my mind of how I wanted everything to be once I moved. And all this stuff started happening with my uterine prolapse, with the edema, and this job was stressing me to the max. It was just a lot going on. But I'm going to get all that under control, and I'll be able to do everything I need to do and stick with it. But for right now, like, I can't even use my weights because normally I take both of my weights. And even when I'm here watching TV shows and stuff, I'll get up and work out from right here from the couch. Or I'll go get a chair and I'll work out while I'm watching TV. Like, I can do stuff while I'm sitting here. I was dancing at one point in time. I can't even do that because of how thick this is. I still try. And I'm gonna continue to still try until it actually goes away. And I can dance how I need to dance because it's like it creates additional friction. And it's just too much. Like, I have to force myself to walk a certain way. I literally cannot even stand with my feet together anymore right now. Like, and that's how I knew it was bad. I was like, oh no, I've never been able to be like this. I've been big for the majority of my life, but I've never had to just stand with my feet apart because I literally can't stand with them together at all. Like, it's bad. But I'm going to reverse all of this stuff. And just in case I didn't say it, it literally feels like I'm walking on like shards of glass, especially on my left foot. There are pieces of skin that have like broken away, peeled away, or whatever you want to say, and it hurts. And I just deal with it. I massage my feet a couple of times a day. I definitely make sure that I soak my feet at least once a day. I wash my feet. And like, I do all kinds of stuff throughout the day just to make sure that I'm applying one of these different things. I don't think I said it in this video, but I apply one of 6 things. Sunshine Skin Glow lotion, Soothing Skin Cream, Blood Purifier lotion, excuse me, Goddess Biotic butter, or 2 of these oils. This one is called Beneficial Berries oil, and another one is in the back. I forgot what it's called, but I put all that stuff on me, at least one of the 6 on me after I'm done with my feet soaking or after I've washed my feet, because I'm serious about it. Like, I'm being serious about my skin and everything else. I ain't got time for this. I'm not playing these games no more. I got to get my life back together. I was hoping that I would have been where I needed to be by the end of the summer, but that might not be a reality right now. I'm just trying to focus on once I get my thighs right, it's gonna be a wrap for everything else. Everything else gonna come together. Um, but yeah, thank y'all for listening.